Welcome back to the OPL. If you're just joining us, Legacy have beaten Regicide 2-0. My name is Michael Hingsing, and I'm joined here by Choo Choos and also T-Gun as we get into our second match of the day. Direwolves top of the table, taking on AV Gaming. And look, AV Gaming going to come in as pretty big underdogs in this one. But give us your thoughts on this, Choo Choos.
Ooh, it's definitely an uphill battle. They've had a big break. They've been able to watch Direwolves over in Vietnam. I definitely think they have the potential to take a game with them today.
It's the same story that we had with Legacy Regicide, right? One team's been international, done their thing overseas. The other team has had a bit of a break, had time to scrim and just sort of research the other team, look at games and work out a strategy. But in this situation, I think AV have a pretty darn good shot at beating out Direwolves.
Because they've been able to watch their games overseas, you're saying?
That, and I have a lot of respect for AV. I think they're a great team that just hasn't found their footing in the actual OPL. They've had some really good games, and they've had some absolute shockers.
I can agree with that. They're definitely a team that is, you can kind of see, especially from first split, you can see that they're struggling with their footing this split.
Well, I'm skeptical about the research the Direwolves while they're in Vietnam method of beating them, because I feel like they're playing a very different game over there and also getting punished in a lot of different ways that they wouldn't get punished here in the OPL. Yeah,
it's kind of the Direwolves mentality, like, we're better than everyone, we're just going to blind pick Cassidy and Camille, and they lost the Gigabyte Marines that way. They don't get punished for it as much as they do back home in OS, but they did get punished overseas, and I do think Direwolves are a team that are starting to look beyond OS. They won last split. I think they're going to be starting to show a bit more respect to these Oceanic teams.
I think they went overseas and actually did the same thing they do here. I don't think they did anything different. They went over there, they drafted pretty arrogantly, blinding their solos, and they got punished over there, whereas they don't really get as punished here. So maybe AV can learn from that. Maybe they can't. Maybe Direwolves learn from that and place a lot more respectful sort of priority in their draft.
I got it. So series blind picks Jax and then hopes that Chibi's picks Camille into it. I get it. I've seen this before. I think something we want to follow here.
That's why you're the host.
Yeah, exactly. Something I know we want to follow here is Sybil obviously going up against his former team.
Yep.
The jungler for AV will be taking on Schönfire, who kind of joined him on the team in Direwolves and then eventually went on to, I guess, full-time replace him. How does this matchup look to you, Choo Choos?
Well, I'm a big fan of Schönfire, but I'm also a big fan of Sybil. I think I'll give this one to Schönfire just because Sybil's so inconsistent. And I love Sybil. He's a great player, but he's been one of those players that has always found it hard to find his footing and perform reliably. He's been playing Kha'Zix, Lee Sin, Gragas, all champions.
We've seen one Zac game from him as well. It was Molto Bene.
Yes. He will not get Zac again. I'm
happy
to say that right now.
He's the OG Zac player of OS.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to see him have like a strong, reliable split.
I'm going to say, as long as Sybil gets his red, he's got a chance. All right. As long as he gets his red.
Right.
You said you're a big fan of Schön. You think that he's really good, and I agree that he's very, very good. But I haven't seen that flair translate into competitive play. You know, when you play against him in solo queue, he's all over the map. He's everywhere.
He's a scrim player, yeah.
But when you play against him in OPL, it's very, very different. So while I do think you're right, and he's a very skillful player, he hasn't been able to show that sort of finesse that he has, and I'm going to look to him to see that in these games.
Two things I want to bring up. Number one, AV's new jerseys, looking mint.
Absolutely.
Number two, what did you think of Schön's play? You would have watched a lot of his play over in Rift Rivals. I think a lot of differing opinions, but what were your thoughts?
Yeah, there are a lot of different opinions. I thought he played really well though. Especially the Gigabyte Marines game. His lanes, he got first blood and gave it to his top laner Chippies. He was in a bad matchup in Camille versus Jax. But in every game that they played over there, he always performed reliably, was tracking the enemy jungler quite well. He did his role very well, and to that I respect him.
And he's doing that with losing lanes. And when you have losing lanes and you're a jungler, everything sucks. The other team, they just come into your jungle, do what they please, get wards wherever they want, and know where you are. So if he's able to do that with losing lanes, that's amazing. Now, if they're able to draft winning lanes and just place priority on counter pick, maybe he can do even more. It's hard to guess, but that's what I want to see today.
In that specific game, though, he also went top after he got Chippies that first blade and also kind of took a kill that he maybe should have left to Chippies as well. So, I mean, you know, I think there are some criticisms to put towards him as well. Potentially he didn't have the choice. Maybe he felt like he had to take it.
I feel like it's a heat of the moment thing.
Yeah.
As a support main that takes many kills from my ADC, all right, sometimes I earn these kills and I need them. All right, that's what Shern's thinking.
All right.
Shern deserves that kill. Don't take that away from him.
All right. Well, let's move elsewhere on the map, shall we? I want to talk about Triple because I know he's been kind of a consistent player over the last couple of splits now, I guess. He's turning into kind of the player to watch on AV in my mind.
I would probably say that Triple and Jakey's my other shout-out I'd like to say, but those two players are probably the most reliable
on AV
players on that team.
Yeah, Triple reminds me a lot of FBI from Sin. He's just a solid player that's always there, never really disappears in a game, never gets 0-5 out of a lane, and you can always rely on him. And that's what you want in a player. I wish I could see him perform to that #1, #2 sort of mid laner and OS level, but he hasn't made that step yet.
It's a hotly contested match. That's a hotly contested position in OS, right?
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm not deriding him for that. Like I said, I really like him. I think he's a very consistent player, but for me, he just hasn't shown that individual flair where he ends up as the #1 or the #2 player.
So what are you expecting from him today then? I mean, we've seen Zed, we've seen
Orianna.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If they're going to blind pick their mid, that's probably what they'll go to. It's just a nice defensive control mage that he's very comfortable on, and I think that might be what they sort of rely on.
Yep. All right.
I'd like to see Orianna. Orianna Victor, he's always been known to be a strong control mage.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Direwolves, shall we, as they are getting ready to take on Triple and AV, and we'll go through their lineup. Their top laner is Chippies, their jungler, who we already spoke about today, Schönfire. Fantix is their mid laner, their AD carry is King, and Destiny is their support player. And, I mean, something we saw from Direwolves internationally, and including their coach Sharp, is they were blind picking solo lanes and then getting counterpicked. And that suggests confidence, but, I mean, that's also exploitable confidence. Potentially, some might call it arrogance.
Definitely.
Some.
That's the attitude of Direwolves, really. Everyone's known them to be... I mean, Chippy's tweeted before this game that AV are the only team...
Great tweet.
What did he say?
AV are the only team brave enough to keep 2 asteroids on their team.
Great tweet.
I don't know. That attitude's still there.
Yeah.
I just hope that they reel it in and be a bit smarter about their pick ban.
I mean, they were the creator of the asteroids. It was Fantix.
They are.
Great tweet.
Do you want to break down? Do you want to explain this to people? Because it's a ranking system. Okay.
Well, all right. There's no way to put this in a nice way. Fantix called a bunch of people asteroids because they're people you don't want on your team. You want to dodge them. You want to get out of the way. And there are 2 players on AV that made that list. Now Chippy's bringing back the reference, saying that they've kept 2 of them. They're very brave for doing that.
Before the game.
Great tweet by Chippy.
He's such a fan of the trash.
I am. I absolutely am. And now it's up to AV to step up and pretty much show that they're wrong.
Well, speaking of AV, let's take a look at their lineup. Like I said, just fly new jerseys.
Yeah,
big fan overall. Their top laner is Series. Their jungler, Sybil, going up against his old team. Triple, their mid laner, who we spoke about already. Blinky is their AD carry. And Jake is their support player. You can see Coach Pinch in the background as well. And you know what I want to see out of these guys? Speaking of Blinky, Jake, and Pinch, I want Pinch to pick Blinky and Jake on Kalista Rakan. Because Blinky's been... I know he's wanted to play Kalista. We've seen it a bit previously. But Kalista Rakan, it's been popping off.
Definitely one of the best spot lanes out at the moment. If Rakan's doesn't need to use his W as a gap close, he can have up to a 2.5 CC chain lock. And that's more than enough time for a Kalista to put in enough spears and get a kill.
Yep, I'd love to see it purely because it takes Blinky off Ash. I know that's exactly what you were thinking as well. Don't even have to say it. But if they do that, I want to see Direwolves answer with Alistar. Because in the Alistar versus Rakan matchup, if the Alistar's a good Alistar, I'm putting my money on him 9 times out of 10. A well-skilled Alistar, if he's able to block the Rakan engage, if he's able to block him right as he triggers his ulti by either pulverizing or popping his ulti to break the CC and remove the Rakan, he's basically invalidated one of the players on the enemy team. And a very integral part in Rakan. So if they do go to Callista Rakan, which I think is very likely, like you said, Blinky wants to play Callista. He's shown that he's very happy to play it and into anything. I want to see Direwolves answer with Alistair and just take the skill match up and show that you're the better support, which I'm sure Destiny believes he is.
So what's the what do you recommend as the AD character support Ali then?
Anything.
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 King will play anything.
Caitlyn's probably the best, but it'll likely be
They'll get
banned.
banned.
I want to see Sivir.
Sivir?
No.
I want to see Sivir.
It's not happening.
I know it's not happening because
We saw Sivir at Rift Rivals in Vietnam. There was a Sivir game there.
there was. I know that King is a very big fan of Sivir.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't think picking it into Calista is the best option, but
Definitely not happening.
but I know that. I don't know. Maybe he will do it because it's King, you know. But like, who knows? I'd like to see Sivir today.
All right. Yeah. Well, elsewhere on the map, I mean, we talked about Shern and Sybil earlier on today, and before 7:14, we obviously don't have access to Kane yet here on competitive. But what kind of champs do you want to see there? Zach's gonna get banned presumably, and then Shern's been playing a lot of Rek'Sai lately.
I think Elise is also going to get banned, so it's hard to really predict what's going to happen. Might end up with a Kha'Zix. I'd like to see that. I don't know. I'm not.
Sybil's been known to be like, if you verse Sybil, you ban Elise. Like that's kind of like that's like a rule of OS.
But
rule of the OPL.
Can you just ban Zach and Elise? Because then if you're going to straight target ban him, you have to ban both Zach and Elise.
Yeah.
Or
He's the OG Moby Boots Elise.
Yeah. I mean, it ultimately comes down to what Sharp. It comes between that relationship between Schönfire and Sharp. Does Schönfire think he can deal with Sybil's Elise? And it's up to Sharp of if he gives him that option.
I mean, if there's a team that's going to go in cocky, gung-ho and say, I can deal with anything you pick, it is Direwolves.
All right, well, let's get your guys' predictions then before we kind of move ever closer towards this game. Choo-Choos, who do you think is going to take this one?
2-1. 2-1.
2-1?
2-1.
Direwolves?
2-1 to Direwolves. I think AV have the potential to get a game today.
You're right, AV have the chance, but I go off their latest performance, which was their games before Rift Rivals.
Yeah.
Did not look good enough to take games off Direwolves there, so I'm going to give it to Direwolves 2-0.
2-0. All right, well, let's take a look at your tips from home, opltips.com.au. And Direwolves, heavy favourites. Almost a 9 to an over 9 to 1 favorite odds, but I would say almost half the people think that AV Gaming are able to take a game today. So you're
one of us.
Yeah, I think you win you're the man of the people, Choo-Choos. You've gone with the majority. You're the populist here.
This will be a great series if we can see if this can be a 3-game series, it'll be great.
Absolutely. Now we are experiencing a delay before we get into this game. So what we're going to do is now we're going to invite the 3 casters, Jish, Coach Jish, Fish, and also Spawn to join us. I'm going to take some tweets from the audience. So if you want to tweet at us, #IamOPL. And so let's maybe switch to them now. We can see them and say hello. Hey, it worked. How are you all feeling? You doing well?
The same as I was maybe like an hour ago when I was asked that question. I'm still pretty good.
Well, I was just being polite, all right? That's what I was doing.
Just admit you don't care.
What do you mean I don't care?
He just pretends to be polite.
I just asked. That proves I do care. If I didn't care, I wouldn't have. Look, not important. But let me get your guys' thoughts before we get as people are tweeting in. Do you guys? I haven't got predictions from you guys ever. I don't think on this.
So we're unbiased shoutcasters.
Completely unbiased shoutcasters.
I'm super unbiased. I don't like Chiefs.
All of these. All lies.
All lies.
All lies.
All lies.
Is Jish allowed to have a prediction?
All right, Jish, give us a
They're all allowed to
prediction.
predict.
2-0 Direwolves. You guys are.
Yeah.
I think you guys are fools for thinking it's going to be a 2-1. They looked really good overseas, and I think that out of like the power rankings of people who like will put shit on Schönfire, I'm at the top of that, and I think he was going up against very good junglers overseas, and he did look really good. Sybil's not bad, but yeah, he's no match for Schönfire.
You're just the kings until you get beaten. I'm such a, I hold true to this philosophy in everything. I mean, people, they lost to the Marines, but at the end of the day, until an OS team beats them, they're still the top dogs in the competition, and they should be given every opportunity to work.
Fish?
I'm a play caster, so I just go with stats, so 2-0 Direwolves.
All right. I want to hear more about these shit talking about Schönfire power rankings you've done in your head, Jish. Who else is on that list?
It's me, then it's me, then it's me, then it's like maybe Spooks. I'll throw him under the bus with me. It's probably me again on on a good day. But no, I think I normally sit on the desk and I'm like, you know what, Schön's played average. Yeah, he was all right.
But Spooks is also the funniest jungler of all time because every single other jungler in OS is like, I don't mind playing against Spooks. He's absolutely fine. Carbon very famously has said that a lot. And then Spooks Spooks in his own head is like the best jungler like to ever grace Oz. And I know in your head as well he is. So
That is
I
true.
find Spooks' power rankings incredibly entertaining because I know that in the past, Sybil's, Carbon haven't actually minded playing against him. They don't think he's a bad player. They're just not scared of him. Whereas I know some junglers in the past have been a little bit intimidated by Shern.
I don't understand those power rankings. I mean, even Tegan's got his own power rankings as well for multiple different things. It's just all over the place.
He is the father of power rankings. He is a very good power ranker.
I'm the father of power rankings.
Oh, come
Is that an age joke?
Oh.
Hey, we're the same age. We can't be mad about age together.
If you're just joining us, we are experiencing a delay currently before we get into this match. Direwolves taking on AV, and as a result, we are accepting Twitter questions on the hashtag #IamOPL. No one has actually asked anything yet, but as soon as someone does, I will forward your question on to the relevant authorities. You know what? I started that sentence thinking, all right, I'm
There
refreshing
surely
the
has to
hashtag.
be one. Let's
I'm
go.
No, what happened was I started the sentence being like, I'm going to refresh the hashtag and it's going to pop off, and then it hadn't happened, and just someone saying, I'm really enjoying this OPL talk show. So that's where we're at right now. Before we get into this game.
Bring back the OPL podcast.
Well,
Bring it back.
that's a controversial opinion to
In this room, I don't think it's very controversial.
I mean, I really enjoy doing it. Friday Roast was actually one of the most entertaining things I ever got to do in my career as a shoutcaster, so I would love to bring that segment back at least.
Don't even bring the whole podcast back. Just bring back the roast. I'm okay. I was never on the receiving end, so I'm okay with
A
it.
couple of your team members were, however.
Not me.
Yeah, but no. Have you seen how much that guy deadlifts? There's no way I'm roasting him.
So I guess that's something for you at home. If you're wanting to avoid Spawn's eye, you should just be hitting the gym so he won't bully you online. I think that's what we've learned from today.
It's the only reason I'm there.
That's the only reason you're there. Is to
Absolutely.
avoid. All right, let's talk about the game, shall we? We've talked a lot about jungle, about the jungle matchup, about mid lane. I want to talk about. I want to talk about the top lane now, very, very briefly. Chippy's kind of had a rough time a bit in Vietnam and Rift Rivals on occasion, but Series has, I think, had a bit of a lackluster split so far. Does anyone want to venture an opinion on the top lane matchup?
I'll say it. I think he's been overrated for a while. I like him. I like him. He's a nice guy. He's always been a friend of mine. Probably not anymore. That's how it goes. But there was a time where he was heralded as the next big thing as top laners. He had his list and everything. Good on him. Never struck me as an amazing the next carry potential on AV. I think it's always come through triple.
Choo-choos, you want to get
I
a
echo
quick
that.
opinion in here?
I kind of echo that. I won't go as far to say that he's overrated, but I definitely think... Actually, no, he's overrated. Like, he is pretty overrated. I definitely think that the other top laners in the scene, Tally, Swiper especially, I definitely think these guys aren't given enough credit just because Direwolves have come first last split.
All right.
Yeah, that's my opinion of Chippies.
All right. Well, we'll get our casters' opinions as well because we're about to get into game. So let's throw it to him right now. It is Fish, Spawn, and Coach Jish.
That was the worst Ask the Caster segment of all time. We got asked nothing.
Yeah.
Why were we even there?
I don't know. Hingers wanted to talk.
Apparently all the tweets just came through. We'll get to them during the game. Hello, I'm Jake Spawn Tiberi. Joining me is Coach Jish as well as Matthew Fish Stewart. We're here for the second best of three of the night.
This is great.
It's going to be the Direwolves taking on AV.
This is great. Hingers is back for 1 week, and he's doing my job on the desk, and you're doing my job as introducing people. You know, I'm just going to sit back. You guys
Sit
keep
down.
talking.
Sit down, Fish.
Yeah, I'm going to have a seat. It's great.
No, actually, producer just got in our ears saying that Hingers was purposely taking up airtime and not asking questions.
Ah,
'cause
it's in his
He likes the sound of his own voice.
I forgot. Hingers must have a set amount of airtime. It's unfortunate, really.
And now he's giggling off in the background. 'Cause he knows
Second
it's
Jack's
true.
ban of the night.
Yeah, fair enough. Jax has looked pretty good, especially into Camille. Did receive a buff, so on 7-13.
You're a big haircut enthusiast, Jake. What do you think of Shamfire's new haircut?
Good haircut.
He's a bit bold.
The lines are very good. He actually has a good shaped head for a bald head.
Yeah.
I mean, some people you shave their head and you're like, that's what the hair was hiding. But Sharon's got a pretty good head.
That's all right.
Well, the first three bans from the Direwolves that come through, Thresh, Jackson, Elise, other three bans on their side of the rift. Zach being banned out by AV, as well as Caitlyn, who's still undefeated in the OPL and permanently banned out today.
Have you ever shaved your head, Fish?
I was bald from 9 to about 15 years old.
You?
Yep,
Josh?
I have shaved my head. I've also had a mohawk. I had that funny little Ronaldo patch at the front, like 2000 and something World Cup. So I've been
Done it
adventurous.
all. We should all shave our heads.
No,
Oh,
we should.
boy.
No, we should.
No,
That's
no
a dumb
thanks.
idea.
AV, their final ban is going to be Camille. First pick coming out from the Direwolves is Galio, who's finally got through a pick ban phase. It's an instant lock-in of Sejuani as well as Braum for Avant-Garde.
Yeah, a little bit of Freljord going over there for AV, as you like to point out every now and again, Fishy. But at the same time, this must be a flex on the Galio. Otherwise, you know, you're just going to be able to lock in something like the Fiora and take it to absolute town in the top lane.
That's an Alistar lock-in for the Direwolves.
Yeah, this is quick. That's a big front line already.
It's a huge front line.
Oh,
Scary.
Yeah. See, I think Chippy's probably not the Galio player on the team. I do think that right now, you know, after we've seen that the round of nerfs come into Galio, a lot of the top laners seem to have an easier time, whereas in that shorter lane in mid, he doesn't get punished as much. He gets to, you know, run the TP, get back to the lane.
Oh, what?
Oh,
Hello, that was quick.
I was getting excited.
that was a 0-second changeover off Vayne.
Onto Kalista and then Zaya. Oh, goodness sake.
I
thought Blakey was going to pick it up.
Honestly, I would have preferred the Kalista. I think now you've given over Kalista, Alistar, the Killer Star lane, or whatever the heck people used to call it, which has just such potent engage, and not really going to have all that much of a range problem.
Did I have to ban it now? Maybe
Don't think so.
Potentially have to take it away, but
Ooh,
instead they take away
ban
Fiora.
Fiora.
I mean, yeah, maybe predicting that will be
Mid lane?
Galio mid.
Yeah, bring back Alistar top lane. Let's go.
Yeah, let's not do that either. No Vayne, no Alistar top, thanks.
Well, of course, with double static shiv items being very potent, you can go Trinity Force static shiv into something else. Maybe like a...
No, you can't.
No?
No, not at all.
Jarvan's the final bet coming out from AV. I love how Sport and I are really trying to make this work.
You must be fun at parties.
I'm
Jish.
about to walk out.
No.
Stop encouraging them.
Now it's the next fan coming out from Direwolves. It seems like they think that this will be a jungle Sejuani.
Yeah, I mean,
Certainly will be.
it probably will be a jungle Sejuani. We saw Ambition have a pretty impressive performance
Took
on
down
it.
SKT. That absolutely must be an impressive thing to do. Cinder Hulk into Warmogs was a build that he went both games, so we'll see whether that continues. You
Yeah.
have about 3,300 health after 2 items.
Painfully tanky. Don't expect we'll see the Anivia here. Colette
Said
makes
Colette.
a little bit more sense.
Yeah, locked in for series. Nar and Rankton with the bans from the Direwolves.
Rumble. Akali. Akali beats Kled.
Carly also is like not played that much, so
Certainly isn't played all that much.
And then where do you put the rest?
sounds like a niche pick.
Galio mid for Fantix.
Gragas top, and, you know, lock in something.
King trying to hover every single champion in the game before he locks in.
He's got pretty close.
I was going to say, he's probably getting to 60 or something now.
And Kongmo instead going for the LPL special up against Sejuani, a champion. I mean, we have seen it internationally recently, but in the OPL, never.
Pretty confident in himself. That doesn't look like much fun to have a Sejuani on top of you or Kled ulting into you.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna have to warm his fingers up and be clicking pretty fast.
There's going to be an Orianna probably following, depending on whether they do give the Control Mage matchup. If that is a top lane Jace, then I would very much expect an Orianna to go over.
Jace locked in for the Direwolves, so as you mentioned, it should be top lane for Chippies. Now,
Yeah.
final pick for AV, mid lane pick for Triple. Please lock in Annie, make me happy.
I'm not going to shut you down this one. You can have that. You don't have to dig it, but whatever. No, I do kind of like the Cogmore. As we sort of mentioned, he has a big front line to play behind. Corki, you know,
Second time we've seen Corki picked into an anti-magic mid laner. That's absolutely not going to have any problems just free farming against him and get to a state of the game where Galio is very relevant in team fights.
yeah, definitely not as oppressive, I think, as the Kassadin. I don't think that you ever seem to get the kill pressure that the Kassadin does have on you. You won't get bursted or chunked out as much. And you know that in a lot of melee versus range matchups, you can punish. This is one of them. So, you know, it's not the best matchup. It's not the worst. Maybe they're just respecting that double flex a little bit instead of trying to pick a hard counter. And you know, in case they change it around. But you have to give it to Direwolves here. They've come quite prepared and they've come out with a pretty nice draft. I want to see how easily or how far from easy it is for Cogmore to get out of lane.
Yep.
Because he does have a lot of like targets he can free hit in fights. So
The big thing for me is what does the Sejuani do to the bottom lane? Because if played incredibly well, has a truckload of CC. Braum Sejuani, can just keep you pinned down for a very long time.
Small point. Played poorly. It still has a truckload of CC.
Yeah, it just doesn't hit anyone, I guess.
That is like the name of the game for Sejuani.
Cool, yep. Point taken.
Yeah.
But like, so if Sybil is able to actually punish this bottom lane, burn a flash early on, I think that this game becomes incredibly difficult for the Direwolves to win because they are very, tank heavy with single damage sources. Whereas at the same time, I mean, a little bit more balanced out of AV. See whether that's the case. If any team can, really make a hyper carry comp work, it is going to be the Direwolves lineup. As I said, they're an incredibly talented team.
And really curious to see how this is going to go for King. I mean, Kog'Maw is a champion that we almost only exclusively have seen in the LPL so far.
No one else plays it.
Bit LCK.
So it's curious to see how this one's going to go for King from the Direwolves. But for now, let's check in with Hingers, who is standing by with Sharp from the Direwolves.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with Sharp, the coach of the Direwolves. And you guys have come back from Vietnam, from Rift Rivals. Have you been retooling since then? What did you learn? Let us know how that's affected your gameplay today.
Yeah, well, obviously every international tournament, there's a lot to be learned. Every time we seem to go to an international tournament, we pick up a lot and we find out things that we just never would have found out in otherwise in Oceania. So we're looking to implement some of these things today. Not going to say specifics, but
sure.
But yeah, I'm feeling pretty confident.
So for your opponents, then picking Sejuani, it's not a thing we've seen a lot in Oce. We've seen a little bit internationally. Have you guys reveal if you've got a strategy for that? If you've played against it much, or if you've got a lot of experience?
Yeah, like we haven't played against any Sejuani, but we've seen. I think the only game I've actually seen it being played is LCK against SKT. I think Samsung did. But yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. I'm sure Shern, has an idea of. He obviously knows what the champion does, so we'll soon find out how it goes. To be honest, I'm actually not too sure how that matchup goes in the jungle, like Gragas and Sedge. So yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for speaking to us, and best of luck in the match.
Thank you.
Talking about that matchup, I was speaking to Spooks about it, and he was really unsure which way the direction would go as well. So I don't think that this is something that is limited to just Shern. I think that a lot of OPL junglers would have absolutely no idea how Sejuani into Gragas actually plays out. Neither of them really big prolific solo queue picks at the moment, and will be interesting to take this journey together.
So just to deviate from that really quickly, Triple was able to get a good Frostus bomb down that stole 2 small Raptors. Shernfire held on to his Q to try and make sure it didn't happen, but still didn't hit level 2 from the small clear. And we do have a question coming in, which is, do you feel the new changes to lethality Zed could make a comeback into the meta? I mean, we're still on patch 7.13. Haven't really seen how lethality is implemented in pro play.
Next patch, if lethality isn't hotfixed, anything that can build Dustblade, as well as that other stupid item, Yomu's, over the top powerful.
Yeah, Spawn and I argue on a lot of things, and one thing we are very united on is how much we hate patch 7.14 and the lethality changes. So I kind of do expect Zed to come back.
Yeah, so next week I believe we'll have to take a look and see how that one goes. Sybil now trying to clear out his red buff, taking quite a bit of damage. Speaking of Sybil, he's on Sejuani. In the LCK we saw Cinderhulk into Warmogs gives you a lot of health due to the way the stacking works from Cinderhulk. But Sejuani's passive now gives her a huge chunk of resistances before she takes damage, kind of like Malphite's shield. Is that why we see them stacking health so much?
Yeah, 100% that's why we see it.
Oh, but he might die here. Shern has actually caught out Sybil, forced to jump away, will die to red buff. His passive was down. First blood picked up by Shern, showing he clearly knows how Sejuani's clear works.
What was that? Flash Sybil.
Yes,
You had 3 health and you had red buff on you. Just die. I mean, that's one of those situations where burning the summoner spell is actually really detrimental and probably shouldn't happen because it was the second spell he used.
Yeah, probably just a sloppy individual mistake out of Sybil. He'll be slapping himself for that one. But Shern, showing that even if Sharp wasn't too sure of the matchup, he has a good idea that Sejuani doesn't clear with the highest HP early, and that there is definitely room to invade if you're going to go for that fast 3 camp into the enemy jungle Krogs.
Yeah, and I think that the big thing about this was he got the super leash. He had both of the camps started, so even though Siri's in big trouble here.
Knocks him off his mount as well. We'll get some good trade from Sirius, gets his mount back up, but can he get underneath the turret? That's my big question. Chippies is now cutting through as well, does get cleared back, takes a lot of damage before that.
I mean, he's already lost the creep wave and a half, so Shern's job up here was definitely not to kill the top laner of AV, it's just to keep him off turret. You can see 10 CS going across. TP going to have to be burnt. They can look for, something like cheeky, like a return dive if he uses teleport straight away.
I think,
teleport.
Shern wants to get back to his own bottom side jungle.
Sybil though for a gank onto Fantix.
Flash. Would have been a kill.
Will flash away. Triple burns that.
Wounds. But yeah, no, Shern does not want to look for the repeat there. He expects that Chippies does have a handle on this matchup now, and he wants to get back to his bottom side because his Krugs are up and his Raptors just came up at about 415, 420, I want to say.
Yep.
And it's important that he does consolidate his jungle lead there, and he doesn't let Sybil get back. He's up 2 camps now, and he wants to keep that lead. Up 2 levels too.
31.
He's massive.
He's already got his Barmy Simba. Sybil, as you mentioned, level 3, having a difficult time in the jungle. When Sejuani was reworked, a lot of people thought she'd be top lane due to the new passive. Haven't really seen her in the jungle much.
I mean, we did see her top lane, and then we saw her get nerfed a couple times, and it sort of just made people not want to pick it as much because she was easy to pick sort of bullies into, and although she would still scale, you generally would lose lane a little bit too hard to make it worthwhile. But jungle clear, after the first back, assuming you don't die at 3 minutes like Sybil has, he's not that bad, and with this, I'm going to call it the ambition build, but it's probably just the standard build. She does become relevant quite early, I'd say.
Certainly agree with that. The other big thing that you have to watch for is the fact that sometimes, let's not talk about that.
No, you've got time.
Yep, cool. What I was going to say is sometimes she impacts the map very early just because of how much CC she has before she has an ultimate. I mean, she has the passive, she has obviously the Q,
Actually flashing on Chippies now. Series gets his mount back. Will pull him back with the bear trap on the rope. Sybil jumps in, picks up a kill. Well played by Series.
Yeah, it certainly was. One time I'll actually credit Sybil for coming in and stealing that kill because he needs to be relevant. He's one of the big frontliners, so certainly needs some gold, and I'm not disappointed that he's sticking around for all this experience either because he needs to get himself back in the game. What I was going to say is if you have a good early game and you're not spotted on Sejuani, your ganks are actually very good, and that's something that, unless you're Elise, Rek'Sai, who have pretty predictable ganks at the moment, you don't really see all that much CC come out of your junglers.
Shenfire is doing a fantastic job at the moment. Still counter jungling. 43 CS to 10.
Yep. He's really far ahead, Fish.
He's going to be incredibly happy. He's got more CS than Chippies. I mean, he's got more
gold
than anyone else on the team.
This is so painful to watch.
He's
I feel so bad for Sybil.
I don't understand. How?
I mean,
that is a fat man.
He's taken both Raptor camps and both Krog camps. That is where the CS advantage is coming from. So that is just an absolute truckload. He's been able to get them on his side of the map a couple of times as well. So you really got to give credit to Shern because, I mean, you show top side of the map, you know that you're going to recall after that. So he just walks in and takes all the jungle again.
Yeah, and on top of that, he also gets some good aggressive vision in early, so he protects his top side of the map, both of the lanes have lost their flashes too.
Yep.
See the blue handed over to Corki, so now that matchup that we said was a bit scaly, does get a little bit easier for Corki now that he can just spam out rockets. But credit to Fantix, I guess, having to blow his flash, and in the range versus melee matchup, is still actually on par.
Yeah, Fantix showing that he is certainly adapted to offline play much better than people maybe initially thought. Direwolves were touted as being, they didn't have all that much experience, on the LAN environment, and they had in the past failed a couple of times in that situation, but this year has really turned that around and become a huge player for the team.
Again, Sybil trying to work on taking down his red buff. Shenfire's here right on time, spots him out with the ward, wants to steal this away.
Has a level advantage.
Sybil doesn't even have ultimate. Shenfire just jumps straight back onto towards Sejuani.
Kled actually goes into Fog of War, so Series trying to help out a little bit, but at the same time, Shern, what a smart jungler, just pulls it into the brush, gonna smite that one away. Once again, still 2 levels up, nothing on the top side that Sybil can really take away here.
This is disgusting. And Shern's got his entire jungle to go back to. Only a red buff missing on his side of the jungle. And Sybil only has a wolf count to take at the moment.
Definitely a punishing performance coming out of Shenfire, I'd say.
I mean, he just puts you on the grind when he really is playing good League of Legends. I mean, nothing comes easy at all. And you can see that now even Triple has to play respectfully. Sybil finally has ultimate, so can have a bigger impact on the ganks, but Shern has just got these camps like legitimately on lockdown. As soon as they spawn, he is there.
Yeah, timing these well, and his lane's not really giving over much opportunity to Sybil, who's now 45 CS behind. But is actually, not that far considering, they are these Krug and Raptor camps. He's still over a level behind now. Shern will get 8 off these Krugs.
This is disgusting.
I mean, he's 1,100 gold up, so everywhere else on the map is technically losing for the Direwolf squad. Shern has just put on an absolute jungling masterclass.
I mean, top lane, mid lane, it's about 50 to 100 gold in favor of series and triple.
Yeah.
It's close to even. Bottom lane, of course, a little bit further behind as King is down quite a bit of CS. But my goodness, the lead in the jungle is just insane. Sybil has 15 CS. Finally, he'll get some here if triple doesn't steal. Oh, goodness, he's just reset half the Raptors.
Oh, special. Raptor camp reset.
That's a Sybil special as well. Oh, boy.
You can see that they're actually going to butt heads down. Oh, I thought he was going to go over the wall.
Yeah.
Instead, just get some good vision.
Package being burnt by triple as well just to clear out the mid lane. Fancy tries to pull the minions off the red carpet. Can't quite do enough. Here on top lane, Series and Chippy's going toe-to-toe. Bear trap on the rope, miss. Series going to take a lot of return damage. Chippy's wailing down with a hammer, knocks him off the mount.
Yeah, dismounted does become a little bit harder for Series in this matchup just because of movement speed. One thing I want to point out is even though they're not that far behind, I mean, they're 800 gold. That's the difference between...
Series looking for a solo kill. Series needs to get back on his mount. Sorry, those Chippies I was looking at forces Series to flash away.
Yeah, and he just has so much control over this top side because Schönfire has just, been playing in, that. He's actually been playing that quadrant of the map longer than his own jungle. So, Chippy just has complete reign over top lane to just, force him off his mount, force him out of lane, burn the flash, and he's going to get some either a free base here or some pot shots on the time.
He's 2 levels up. Sybil already at half health. That's 1 spell rotation. Shern might actually look for a solo kill here. One more combo could be enough. He goes over the wall, forces Sybil to flash away in a one-on-one encounter.
Yeah, it certainly does. That's tank versus tank where, already just able to bully him out, going with the AP jungle item. Oh, no, it actually isn't. It's gone Cinderhole. So that is a Cinderhole Gragas just absolutely rocking his world at the moment. What I wanted to say is, you're only behind jungle matchup right now, but laners are ceding control because they feel like they're so much further behind in the pressure game. And that's why, as a jungler, being spotted out continually, being tracked around and being lower level actually impacts everywhere else. There's now Blinky in some trouble. Might have to ult
quite
out.
a bit of damage. Will ult there, has already been stunned up. Galio's coming down and Teleport's coming through as well. Fantix wants to join the fight. Teleport going to be cancelled by Series. Blinky forced to use his flash to get away from that one. But Destiny and King both use summoner spells as well.
And I mean, this has been a relatively even, slow-paced game, but Direwolves are just eking out advantages everywhere. I mean, a summoner spell, flash, burn in there. Shern holds mid lane, nothing being given away. He's now 70 CS up, if you don't mind. I mean, that's absolutely massive.
Is he going to Flame Horizon him?
You'd have to expect so.
I mean, at some point in the game, yes, he will. Will he Flame Horizon him by 15 minutes? That's a little bit more impressive, and he might.
Yeah, and you have to imagine the Direwolves are actually quite fine to be playing this slow game here. We see an engagement bot lane though.
Big play coming out from Destiny. He W's onto a minion, stun locks Blinky, already has no flash. Ultimate coming out from King. One more is enough. Blinky walks straight on top of him and King gets a kill.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, I mean, they're just losing control of every part of the map right now. Direwolves playing the game at their tempo, their style, controlling, suffocating League of Legends. And AV are honestly getting outclassed.
Fantix even wants to try and take down Triple, gets a good taunt, throws out the Winds of War. Triple at half health from one combo.
I mean, if that happens again, all of a sudden you're a dead Corky. They're just not winning any part of the map anymore, Finn.
Nothing's going in AV's favor.
Yeah, and Fantix actually going for the Rod of Ages. Much more often we see the adaptive helm. Series ulting in the complete wrong direction, going for a... Oh no, maybe just going for the drive-by.
Hello?
Actually, the funniest ult I've seen in my entire life from Fled.
What the heck was that?
I don't know what's happening with AV right now.
Give him benefit of the doubt. Misclick. Clearly just threw his keyboard off the stage, I think.
Giving a player the benefit of the doubt is saying they threw their keyboard off the stage.
That makes more sense in his choice of ultimate direction.
I don't know what you say to your friends. Your enemies, sorry, if that's what you say to your friends. Triple in a little bit of trouble here.
Flash is early. Not bad.
So respect flash from him.
Yep. Schönfire still has his E flash. You maybe would expect to trade flashes there just to make sure that Schönfire does have to burn his, but yep, just flashing early, not too bad.
Direwolves uses time to take down top lane out the turret. Destiny even comes in for a bit of gold for himself. Blinky working on the bottom lane outer, so it should be a 1-for-1 trade, but first brick goes in Direwolves' favor.
And they just have all the tempo advantage everywhere on the map. I mean, all game long, they've been timing camps. They've been making sure that they're in the face of AV. They're the ones making the proactive play. And you can see that, they get the advantage being able to push in. They can now choose if they want to swing towards Rift Herald, whether, mid lane turret is actually their objective. So very nice play here coming out of Direwolf.
Shenfire and King looking to try and take Rift Herald from himself, as you mentioned. Sybil will work on the Mountain Dragon. Seems like it's going to be an objective trade neither team wants to contest. But again, Rift Herald probably one of the most important objectives on the map before 20 minutes.
It's like banking up a turret. Like, the philosophy behind Rift Herald is we can't take a turret right now. The wave clear may be a little bit too big. So instead what we're going to do is we're going to take the Rift Herald off the map. We're going to decide where we lay it down, and that's our turret. Stave up.
Yeah, and you know, usually you can see outer turrets like we saw in the top lane just be picked up almost for free in some senses, whereas the mid laner is always going to be, you know, around. Bit of an engage mid.
Big knock-up. Taunt will land on the 3 people as well. Winter Ward does a bit of damage, but they turn straight back onto Fantix. Will dodge out the ultimate. Yeah, not quite sure what he's trying to do there, but now they've actually knocked down Chippies, forced to flash away. Shenfire trying to knock them into the turret as well. Chippies will take a ton of damage, but doesn't fall. Jake's the next target. Destiny comes in and slams the ground like the angry cow he is. Direwolves trade 1 for 1.
And I am so surprised that Chippies just didn't die straight away there. All the layering of CC was just actually perfectly placed from the AV squad, but is able to get out. And you can see that the rotation's certainly there. That's what tempo advantages give you, the ability to be able to get into the lanes quicker than your opponent. So they do trade 1 for 1 when you're behind. Trading, not necessarily a bad thing, and they defend the turret for a little bit longer.
Yep. Kind of lucky, I would say, that Shenfire didn't drop his Rift Herald mid, you know, and that they claimed that one for free, but they're just controlling the jungle again, as we've seen Shenfire do all game.
But at the same time, I mean, I thought that this game was going to explode once the top lane turret had gone down and Direwolves were going to be able to get into this macro game. Instead, because of the rotations around the map, a little bit confused that, you know, they weren't able to pick up the bottom lane wave. Now all of a sudden that's been pushed in. It's built up massively. Blinky's going to be able to claim majority of that because there's no dive waiting for him. So AV are actually going to be able to build their way back into this game.
Yeah, a little bit of reprieve for them. You know, Blinky does catch this massive wave. That's quite important for him here. You would hate to see him, you know, fall behind the Kog'Maw, who will definitely punish him later in this game. But you know, maybe just questioning the choice of item for Fantix. You know, we saw him blow up very quickly in that fight.
Yep.
And then we also saw him ultimate, which, you know, maybe a questionable decision. Maybe giving Chippies a little bit of resistances and stuff when they follow up on him.
Yep.
Probably dead either way there. But yeah, no. AV, you know, haven't given up yet. Clearly they want to hold these 2 turrets, and the longer they can manage to pull that off.
That's a bold call.
Yeah.
That's a teleport as well. Series wants to get into this fight.
I mean, where's the rest of the collapse coming from? You can see Braum is there. Series can ult it up.
He is, and we'll be able to give this movement speed boost to Blinky as well as Jake, but he doesn't get far enough into the jungle. Blinky takes a bit of damage for that too. Suddenly pile on in on towards Fantix. Triple's going to join the fight as well. Bear Trap on the road connects, as well as Winter's Bite from Braum. Fantix will take quite a bit of damage trying to trade this one back. Ultimate from Shenfire separates the team. Fantix still lives. Big pull from Destiny as well. It seems like this trade coming out from AV is going to stop right there.
Yeah, it certainly is. And all of a sudden, 2 lanes are being shoved in. Top lane, mid lane. So they have to continue to try and fight this one.
They want Fantix, sorry, Shenfire, who's still going to get over the wall with just a body bop. Ultimate being thrown out by Jake there. They can't chase. Direwolves don't lose a single kill, and they're pushing mid and top.
Yeah, it looks like he was going for the interrupt fish there on the body slam. If it's timed perfectly, does stop the movement. Doesn't get that. So he gets over the wall, gets out, and now they've got the inside track. Mid lane turret going to fall down. That is going to be Herald burnt. Top lane turret also in big trouble.
Yeah, that's just going to fall. King will see if he can take it down before Rift Herald goes for the charge. Not going to happen, but it's not going to take too much damage from this charge. It can go for a second one, a mid lane inner.
I mean, they still got bottom lane turret, so not all bad for AV. They are trading. Still trading mid lane for bottom, however, it's certainly not a good trade.
Yeah, you'd much rather the pressure you get. We see Destiny stunning up Series.
Yeah, Series going to take a bit of damage. Knocked off Kled. He's going to try and kite back, but Exhaust comes out. Chippies gets that kill. Suddenly the rest of Direwolves are teleporting into the mid lane. Fancy's going to tank up this turret. They want mid lane inner, and they're probably going to get it here after their pick on towards the top laner, but resistances are too strong without minions. AV will group up and try and defend this.
You can see that Sybil flirted with the idea of going aggressive. Instead, they're going to have to give up this turret.
Big knock-up coming out from Shenfire. Destiny jumps in, forces a flash out of Sybil. Cast gets thrown, but it's dodged out by Blinky.
Using the word dodge very liberally, I appreciate it. Some would argue that he stood still fish.
You don't juke the Duke, you might end up juking the Duke, right? That's how it works, apparently.
You don't juke the Duke, you might end up juking the Duke. Do you want to think about that sentence? Or?
Nope, no, not at all.
I love it. No, pretty good play from Direwolves. We did mention that AV was shoving in bot lane, and they took that that inner turret but you'd have to argue that gaining, the outer mid and then even the inner and mid as well, so much more map control. Baron's up in 30 seconds. They just get to walk into that top side of the jungle for free, essentially. Control out the vision, as they've done for the last 19 minutes. And then, yeah, I guess, even though the gold's relatively even, you have to give credit to Direwolves here because they're going to have so much more map control.
And they're 2,000 gold ahead of AV with a Kog'Maw and with this team composition that looks so strong up front. It's going to be difficult for AV to kind of fight back, but they're still within touching distance.
Yeah, they certainly are. And, there are a couple of things we have to point out. You would say pretty greedy item builds from both solo laners. We're going to see the Roller picked up as the first item for Fantix. We see a Bork picked up for first item on Jace, which is much more split push heavy. He's going towards, what is the solo, never leave my lane, I'm just going to shove into the tank build. And Kled at a certain point, once he picks up that stone plate, probably he's going to be able to run over the top of him. He's got a very long lane that he has to stay in, with Corki package and thing like that being able to attack him. I think Chippy's, if he doesn't play this incredibly well, is in the area where you can start getting targeted out. There's Fantix again being targeted.
Taking quite a bit of damage. Actually, no, taking no damage at all so far. Will end up flashing away. And how about that, AV?
Yeah, he is an incredibly tanky man. That anti-magic shield that he's going to be able to pick up the fact that Sejuani and Braum all magic damage, and it is just a one-item Xayah at this point of the game, so not going to be doing all that much to the super tank.
Yeah, I prefer to see him banned than picked. Not that fun to watch.
Galio, yeah. Looks swag in the suit though.
Yeah, definitely looks alright. I'll pay that. Not my favorite Galio skin. Wait, no, never mind. We're not doing skins.
No,
I hate skins.
Stop.
What is your favorite Galio skin?
I think actually I like the standard Galio skin.
Oh no.
It's better than the the fancy suit one.
Yeah,
but they have actually gone, I'll pay it here.
Debonair.
Yeah. You respect it when teams, focusing on the intricate strategies and important facets of League of Legends, like matching your skins.
Yeah, we're about to get a tweet from Ejim. I can feel it. It's coming in. It's about to roast both of you.
Not reading it out.
Staying away from the skin discussion so he doesn't roast me as well.
Maybe the big first team fight of the game coming in. Kled does have the flank here.
Yep, AV not going to be able to steal the Mountain Dragon away. A big double knockout coming out from Destiny. Xayah gets 3-man root. Make it 4 as Corki dive bombs into the fight. AV want to try and take this one down. King's going to fall. That's the hyper carry. Dead from the Direwolves. AV want to turn this around. 2 kills for Triple. He'll finally get taken down. But suddenly it's a big, massive, scrappy brawl. Fantix and Sherfire, the only 2 members of the Wolfpack alive. Fantix will eventually fall. Kled comes back and AV pick up a team fight.
And I just don't know why Direwolves are committing to these objectives. We were speaking about how much map control they have, the fact that all the jungle was a no-go zone, the rotations between turrets that they were able to have. Instead, they group up in a big death ball. King gets, absolutely annihilated in the back line. And from there, they just have no damage threats at this stage of the game.
Yeah, we talked about, the immense amount of CC coming out of the AV roster, and that really just showed up trumps there. We see the replay here, Does start off with Destiny engaging, gets a 2-man knock-up that Blinky dodges out. A lot of CC from the Xayah, Corki package over the top. Kled comes in from behind. King's completely gone at this point. I think he's got enough 1 or 2 auto attacks. Yep. And, Fantix does, a little bit of damage, keeps people, staying respectful, but Blinky's just free hitting at this point. And it's so hard for them to fight without their Kog'Maw.
Yeah, and the fact that Kled got the remount is also a big turning point. If Kled has enough of a front line that he's not the person getting focused out, that he can get those remounts, get those big HP boosts in fight that are honestly only going to get worse as the game goes on and he picks up things like Gargoyle, Stoneplate. Warmog's already picked up, going towards Infinity Edge for Triple. This game, off that back end of that one team fight, now is stalled out and is very dangerous.
Destiny's going to collapse onto 4 members of AV. Fantix as well, Stonefire there. Direwolves want to look to see if they can turn around and go for a fight. Civil takes up some damage, but again, Blinky played that fight so well. Dodged out the knockoff from Destiny. 4-man root. Looking on form so far in this match.
And he's been the barometer for the team. Honestly, at the start of Split 1, when AV looked like a top 3, top 4 team, it was off the... People were talking about series a lot, but it was off the back end of the bottom lane performing very well. Since Blinky and Jake kind of went into their duo lane slump, that's become difficult, but this game looking very good.
King as well got picked off very quickly in that team fight. However, he's gone towards the Rage Blade second item of Blaze of Ruin King, so Kog'Maw's slowly stacking up into a hyper carry.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing about Kog'Maw. Like, even if you kill him in this one fight, and now that he's hit 2 items, he's going to be absolutely massive in the next one. So it still is a little bit of a time bomb, I guess, from the Kog'Maw. He's always going to be relevant.
Depends what the team fight looks like. I like Rage Blade. It gives you very good single target damage. However, Ooh, here we go. A little bit of a scuffle. I think that we're going to see a lot of pile-in 5v5 team fights. And I think that maybe the only time I'm ever going to argue that the Runans would be like maximum efficiency as all these tanks are diving on your head. You're definitely going to be hitting more than one person in the team fight. And I think that crit at the moment and the position that it's in is just going to scale incredibly well for Blinky. And if they can't deal with him, he's much slipperier, then he's going to absolutely pop off.
Do you have freaks maths on Cogmore builds or just Tristana?
I actually do, but I'm not going to talk about it.
I love that. Yeah, I guess we'll see. You know,
Team fight.
We are going to see a team fight.
At Baron, they're already trying to lock down a couple of members. Ultimate gets thrown out by Jake. Teleports are coming in as well, but it's just tanks against tanks at the moment. Blast Cone, good use coming out from AV to jump away. Fancies is knocked into red buff pit. He still wants to go further forward for a fight. Can't quite get it. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I just don't know the Cog does enough damage to get through all the super tanks at this stage of the game. When he gets towards 4 or 5 items, he certainly will eventually. But, you know, it's very hard to get Shred on Cogmore in the form of, you know, Armor Shred or Magic Shred because he does so much mixed damage, particularly with this build, Fish. And I think he's going to struggle as the game progresses. It's the first time I've ever said that the Cogmore's going to struggle, but that's just because there's so many super tanks and a Braum Shield.
See what they can do. Cogmore has free reign at the moment. Still chunks through Sybil when he's at full health. Body Slam comes out for Surefire, knocks him back. That's a dead Sejuani. I mean, Cogmore still can shred through them at the moment, and that's all King really cares about.
I mean, that's one tank. Yep, he certainly did a very good job. They aren't actually going to defend the Baron.
Nope. So it seems like they're going to try and use Series to take down bottom lane inhibitor turret. It could potentially fall. King takes down Baron so quickly, though. Empowered recalls will come out for them. So they will lose mid lane out of turret. That's taken down by AV. Can they get to Clay to stop him in time? Answer is no. He will take down bottom lane inhibitor turret. So Baron traded for 2 turrets.
Yeah, actually doesn't even have to burn the ulti. So instead they trade 2 turrets. They think that Direwolves with this buff aren't going to be able to push into anything they haven't already done damage with. Would be interested to see what next Dragon is, because you also don't want to fight against Baron stats at this stage of the game. But, I mean, I think that's a little bit too much respect given it. Only 25 minutes into the game, I think you can 4v5 defend that Baron.
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, especially with the amount of CC they do have pretty good disengage still in the Braum. They probably could have flirted with that. I think they were just making the call as a team to try get more map control, and they'll, you know, just hope to stall out this Baron. But you know, Blinky off in the top lane trying to catch that big wave, and you know, Dire will just run it down bot.
Looking to try and continue pushing on through. AV do have all their members up. Blinky's only now just going back to base, so they can't defend this outer turret. And top lane outer is incredibly low. Yeah,
Series has cancelled a lot of shops as well, Fish, so we'll be late to this fight if they go for it. You can see that Shern still wants to delay his recall, and that will happen. So Titanic Hydra not going to be available for Series.
He run from inhibitor to inhibitor. I feel like he did. Now he's trying to base for the 14th time.
Yeah.
Why don't you just walk?
That's at a position where walking is a lot faster than recalling, but Series still going to press the B button. Doesn't quite need the health, so welcome back and shopping would have been easier. Direwolf's going to try and brute force their way down mid lane. Flash forward from Jake, looking for an ultimate. Dive bomb coming in from Triple, separates the team, but King flashes on his head. Galio gets on top of King as well, but Chippies is taking a ton of damage. Blinky again with a 4-man route. Series into the back lines. King is going to go down. Double kill picked up by their top laner. Triple is trying to keep this fight alive for AV. There's nothing Surefire can do. He's the next to fall, and it's going to be an ace picked up by AV against the Baron buff that Direwolves have.
And that's a clean ace. I mean, that is a 5-for-0 trade going across, and how many times will they go for it before they learn? Do not 5v5 team comp against what is the biggest frontline I have seen in a long time. AV wiped the floor with them, and they're also going to get the Infernal.
My goodness, what a big plan again. Massive coordination coming out from AV, and Direwolves, for some reason, both team fights so far have been against Corky's package, something we don't see.
Yeah, it certainly has been, and you know, off the back end of that, they're going to actually get more because they only send 2 people towards the Drake. Blinky pushes mid lane, the Corkies go on top, that's another 2 turrets. They're actually going to have the gold lead.
But you have to say the saving grace here for Direwolves is that they did have 3 waves pushed. And, you know, if they had those lanes against them, you know, Avant would have just taken the map. You know, their inhibitor bot still stays. Very lucky for Avant. As we said, the Infernal Dragon was the choice here. But you see the fight, as you mentioned, like, the package to the back line, and Series on the long flank here, who come from behind, his team just waits a little bit, and they just layer their CC really well. You know, the Xayah route followed in by Sejuani's 44 million seconds of CC. Corky just zoning back, like, doing so much damage.
Yep.
Their carries aren't being threatened because there's too much CC locking down their practically everyone.
And they knew who they had to go for. You blow up the 2 damage threats, and then, you know, chase the people that are further away and that have the gap closers to escape. Then turn onto, you know, Fantix. He's not going anywhere quickly at this stage of the game. I mean, that's very well coordinated. I like the layering of CC because everyone just has CC. So pretty much if you just hit your buttons, you're pretty much guaranteed to lock people down with this comp.
Really hard to mess up when you have that much CC.
And it seemed like a great play from Triple as well. Diving into backline, cutting off the team, drew aggro from King, flashed early so he didn't die and kept him there.
And they are 1,000 gold away from double stone plate on their Sejuani and on their Kled. This game becomes real difficult to win when everyone's on 3 items. I mean, once again, if this game goes for 40 minutes and King gets, you know, the 5, 6 items, he will start doing significant damage. But before that, can you get through Kled, Sejuani, double Gargoyle Stoneplate? I don't think so.
I mean, at this point, it's kind of a 4v5. I feel as though Chippies is not offering that much. Like, he does have the Shred, but I don't think he's doing anything under this CC layer. You know, he hasn't shown that he's much of a threat in split pushing right now because Direwolves are far too focused on grouping up right now.
The only saving grace to the Direwolves is that they're just 600 gold behind. AV have finally taken the gold lead, but it's a small one. They've been fighting from 3 and 4,000 gold behind so far and been doing a good job at it. Now, when it's even, let's see what they can do. Knight's Vow's been picked up by Shernfire again as his second item, so puts that on towards King.
Sybil's 100 CS down and same level as Shern. I mean, all of a sudden, through good team fights, 10 out of 11 kill contribution, he's been able to claw his way back into this game.
Yeah, this game seemed doomed from the start that Sybil had, but he actually, you know, he has recovered quite well. Picked up farm where he could and just tried to keep that deficit as small as possible.
Yep. AV are now looking to try and push top lane. Inner turret. Fantix gets a good double taunt, but no one else is there from the Direwolves to stop that from falling.
Yep, and just free gold going over to Avant.
And they get the first meaningful lead.
Yeah, so, you know, they start pulling ahead, and, you know, Baron's just 2 minutes away now, so you'd love to see Series start getting some control in that bottom lane and pressuring the inhib as the Baron spawns again. And, you know, and if we see that they want to go for the trade this time, you know, you will lose Baron for, you know, your base inhibitor and maybe your turrets.
Ooh, double stone plate has been picked up as well. This is where things get really spicy.
Yuck. I don't want to watch this anymore. I think this game looks unfair.
Certainly does. I mean, at the same time, Corky's gone back. He's picked himself up a blasting rod. We're gonna see the first Void Staff Corky, I feel, in the OPL, just because of how much magic resistance has been picked up by everyone. Does 80% magic damage, so certainly needs it in this composition.
Yeah, definitely a good item. We normally see the prioritization of getting double Energizer. I think I've seen someone go Haunting guys into Leandre's at some point, but still back to Void Staff. Sybil looking to engage in the mid lane, but they just walk away.
Jumps on the Shernfire, doesn't do that much damage to the Gragas.
I mean, I honestly think now that you're AV, you've got the gold back where you want it, you go towards Baron because your comp wants Direwolves to funnel into you. And I think that, you know, as soon as they commit onto that, as soon as Blinky is able to slip the first little bit of CC, although they go again.
Sybil flashes forward, puts the ultimate onto King, locks him down. Good Iron Solari. King is able to kite this one out. They're not locking down the combo just yet. Galio's jumping on top of him as well. He's still alive. King is trying to kite this one through. Very low on health. Finally going to fall to Jake. But as the damage being done, still the rest of AV's carries are alive. Finally, Kled will fall. Sorry, Sybil will fall. It's a 1-for-2 trade. AV still pushing.
I mean, you just saw it. They were on him for so long. King was sitting there and just free hitting, and he still just can't do enough damage because they're so damn tanky with those stone plates.
Yeah, I was getting worried that they weren't killing this Cogmore fast enough, but, you know, we actually mentioned earlier that AD carries, particularly on this server, not using their summoner spells respectively. You know, King sitting on both of his right now.
What?
And they just take 2 inhibitors. And this game has just gotten so much harder now for Direwolves to win. I'll say it again. I think the Chippies walked out around the back of that fight, probably got 30 damage across the whole thing. Definitely going to be very hard for this to pull this one back.
This is criticism not just of AD carries on the server, but King since MSI. That's when we first saw him not using his summoner spells. Came back to the OPL, same problem. Rift Rival, same problem. And again, that just cost him a team fight.
To be fair, I'm not actually sure where he gets to use in that fight. No. Obviously, there was a lot of CC on him.
They just chased him as well.
And he's picked up the QSS now, so, you know, he will look to QSS flash out into this next team fight, and that could be the game changer for him.
Double inhibitor though. Gold is still dead even almost. About 2,000 in favor of AV, 33 minutes into the game. Doesn't matter that much, but
this is where comp becomes king. This is where, I mean, if you can get 3 super tanks like Kled as well as Sejuani in this form into the latter stages of the game, I mean, this is where comp just becomes better than anything else. And unfortunately, we keep going back to it. But Chippies on this Jace is so much harder to execute in a 5v5 than what Kled is.
Charge is coming out from Kled.
caught
Jumps
Chippies.
on towards Chippies on the top side of the map. He's going to die nice and easy. Tries to jump in for as much damage as possible. Doesn't work. Separated from the team. And now AV have a clear run towards Baron. 60 seconds on Chippies.
I mean, they don't even have to do it. They can just sit here and poke at it. They've got 2 super creeps wave pushing in. I mean, they're going to do it because they do it quickly.
They really want to do it here.
Shenfire
they
needs to
have
go for
the
a
mount.
steal. They turn actually on straight on to Shenfire. He's almost going to die straight off the bat. Galio comes in with a big knockup. King is fighting on the back lines. Still very healthy, but finally gets locked out. Will QSS splash. Jumps up by the rest of the team. Doesn't even matter. The Cogmore is down. I repeat, the Cogmore is down. Double kill picked up by them. And now Fantic's last man alive for the Wolfpack. Triple kill for Triple.
That's game. That AV has just done what no other OPL team has done in so long and taken a game off the Direwolves. I mean, the Chiefs did it in week 1. I don't care. It's week 4. But that was just such an impressive game. I mean, they've out-team fought one of the best team fighting teams in Oceania.
No members of the Direwolves are left up. AV are going to march towards the Nexus. It's just been impressive from every single player on their team. Both Nexus turrets are going to fall. They're going to work their way towards the Nexus, and AV take game 1 against the Direwolves.
You know, and everyone should start taking notes, because this is an AV who, you know, were not getting good practice for the last 2 weeks, while Direwolves were getting fantastic practice and experience overseas. So, you know, very impressive for them to turn that fight around, turn the game around from, you know, what looked to be a loss after that first Baron.
I mean, when you are level 4 to a level 6.5 jungle, and he's walking in and taking your topside jungle, I think he did it 3 times. He just legitimately walked in, took Raptors, red buff, Krugs. And then Raptors, Krugs, and Raptors, red buff, and Krugs again. I mean, if that's so hard as a jungle to come back from. I mean, I'm going to use the tilt word. Sybil, at that stage of the game, is, you know, swearing at his mid laner and his top laner to get in and help him out.
Yeah,
but somehow keeps it together.
I was calling that one doomed for Sybil.
Yep.
You know, that was maybe a little thing that me and Dardock threw around a little bit back in the day. It was that when you lose your like 1 or 2 camps, the game's doomed. When you lose it like 7 times, just GG, go next.
But again, we saw Series as well as Blinky really step on. These are 2 members we had so much criticism for AV.
Blinky looked legitimately good in the first team fight. I mean, able to kite out, dodges out the headbutt Polv, had a really good laning phase. They were actually up in CS versus King and Destiny, and, you know, touted as one of the better the AD carry and support duo. So, yeah, hats off to the, you know, underappreciated members of AV. They performed really well.
Yep, AV able to fight back from a gold deficit. They pick up game number 1. To break down that game further, let's send it back to the analyst desk.
Thanks very much, guys. And AV are able to take a game, so I feel like one of you has some gloating to do. Choo-choos, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, good stuff. Good stuff. They played their comp really well. They reacted really well. I'm really proud of them.
Yeah. T-Gun?
He's not wrong. AV played pretty much every team fight really well. But on top of that, Direwolves played most team fights really badly as well to let the... Because Direwolves were so ahead for all the early game when they shouldn't have been, and they lost the mid game when they should have won.
They had
Everything's
arguably the
confusing.
worst spot lane. They had Cogmore, Alistar. That lane is dreadful. But they still managed to be only like 5 CS down. So you could see that their laning prowess was still there.
Still very, very good. Well, speaking of them, Dial is perhaps underperforming in team fights. I mean, they're playing what I think you describe as a protect the Cogmore comp, right? Because you've got a Cogmore and then a bunch of big guys to protect him. But if you're playing a protect the Cogmore comp, you need to protect the Cogmore, Tigger.
Yeah, and they just... Let me preface this. AV do a really good job. Blinky dodges everything, and they flank quite well with the Kled. But you're spot on. You need to protect the Cog. He's basically your only damage. Chippy's there as well, I guess. But once Cogmore dies, the team fight's done. You have no damage left. You have guys that won't die. That's cool. But it's not going to win you a team fight. So credit to AV, right? Great engage by them, great play by them, but at the same time, Direwolves just not playing to what their comp was designed to do.
And a great flank from Series, despite the fact that you, I believe, called him somewhat overrated. So eat your words again, Tigger.
I think Series had a great game. I definitely think
I've already given him credit. What more do you want from me? Do you want my shirt?
Let's take a look at this second replay, Choo-Choos, because this is that bot lane team fight where they're able to take an ace.
There's the package. Great engage by Jakey. Big Galio ult. Doesn't hit anyone. And here comes Series on the flank. Immediately jumps on King. They shot down the Cogmore, and from here they just clean them up.
The thing is, when Direwolves took Baron, you said, look, this is probably going to be them taking an inhibitor turret from that. So what turned around in terms of AV's engage in that fight that allowed them to take that fight?
they They obviously didn't know there was a ward there. They would have prepared for that. But also, with 3 tanks, with Alistar, Gragas, and Sejuani, it's very hard for a...
Alistar, Gragas, and Galio, you mean?
Oh, sorry, and Galio, yeah, they versus... Yeah, but it's very hard for AV to get past that front line onto a Cogmore. So the fact that they did it 3-4 team fights is very... It shows that they have very good synergy together and they can coordinate these team fights.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. The flank ward, if you're going to push a lane like they did, especially in a side lane, you can't afford to have a flank ward. That's how you lost the previous fight. That's how you're going to lose the next fight. And it was just sloppy by them to leave it up and let it happen. And I think one thing that could have rectified it, I might be wrong, it's something that is a very niche thing and it's not going to happen again for another 100 games for them, is they could have just kept going forward there when the package came behind them instead of kiting back onto the package and into the path of the Kled that's coming behind them.
So you're saying, to be clear, you're talking about direwolves there. You're saying
absolutely.
When the package goes behind you, don't walk back over the package and try and escape. Just go full in and take the tower.
They know the Kled's flanking. They have to know that by that point.
Yeah.
So it's just...
If you see 3 people in the tower in front of you and... The
package is
and the Braum flash engages on you. You know, oh, okay, he's probably behind us now.
Yeah.
Well, Tegan, the final replay I want to take a look at is this mid lane team fight towards the end. And as we bring it up on your screen, I mean, this is a fantastic engage from AV as we get to it.
Yeah. So another one where I'm sitting here watching this happen, going, "Oh, Dial's just gonna win. Cogmore's fine. He's alive." Like, they'll just kill him and he's going to do 1 million damage. Great route by Blinky to lock him down, and now he's kiting. He has heal. Why are you not healing, and why is your team not healing harder for you?
That's the thing, that he's dying with Summoner's Up.
And Flash.
Yeah.
His flash definitely very questionable.
To be fair, his Flash looks like it's just coming up, so maybe it's not in his head as an option.
Oh, you're right. It was coming up.
If your team peels you for an extra 5 seconds, he should never die there. But his team's just doing their own thing. It didn't seem like they were a 5-man unit in this team fight, which is what they needed to be when they pick that sort of comp.
But that's kind of the difficulty they face, isn't it? Because historically, Direwolves played towards their laning phase, right? But what we see from them today is they're playing a comp, and not a comp they usually play, right? So this is a very team-focused comp where you've got to protect this 180 carry.
This is what I was talking about. They came back from Vietnam and they were known as this team that dominated lanes and carried that out, and they won the game in 20 minutes. This is not Direwolves. This is something new that they're testing against AV, and it didn't work game 1. And most times a team tries a new strategy, it won't work. So I'm happy that they're putting a new step forward and they're trying new things.
I'm happy they're trying something new, but at the same time, that did not look like it was refined enough to do with the OPL.
Yes.
Go back to what's tried and true. Leave that for the scrims. Practice it for a week or 2 until you're happy with it. They might have been happy with it coming into this game.
All we know is that this could have worked in scrims.
Absolutely.
And it didn't work today.
Potentially.
Definitely didn't work. And going into the next game, I don't want to see them do it again.
So
I will say it straight away.
So without having any inside knowledge, but I would suggest that perhaps what's happened is the Direwolves have gone overseas, had, I think, by their own standards, a very disappointing showing at 2 international tournaments now. And now they think to themselves, look, we are the best team in the OPL by their own standards, right? So what we need to be doing now is playing towards these international tournaments. We're sick of winning OPL and then going overseas and then, losing, frankly. So what they're doing is trying to work on strategies that they think they can take overseas rather than go and just try and win lane. Like
I really hope that's not the case, because they've won once. It's not like they're the Chiefs who have won untold amount of times. They've won once.
Right. Yes.
And they're really good, but you can't, if that's what they're doing.
I'm not saying, I'm guessing. I'm wildly speculating, to be clear.
They need to pull their heads out, because that is not the right course of action.
I don't think they're going to just, okay, we're the best in OS now. Let's change everything. Let's prepare for Gigabyte Marines in 3 months. Then I don't think that's not what they're thinking. I think they just realize, especially from Vietnam, that their playstyle is too one-dimensional and they need to develop new things. It's not going to work on the international stage. We've seen that. It doesn't work. So they're trying this back home, and it didn't work today, but as you said, they need to practice this, refine it a bit more. Maybe they'll bring it out next week.
Yeah, the damage charts pretty much confirm what we're saying, is Cogmore's the only real threat. He hasn't done much more than Galio. I mean, yes,
it's not 10k more.
Purely number. Yeah, but in a comp like this, you expect that column to basically be off the screen.
Yeah.
They should be dwarfed, but he just looks like a fed carry.
Yeah.
Not what you've built your team around.
From seeing these damage charts, it kind of shows how AV did the damage in like at the right time and the right person. They didn't like if you look at the damage, Direwolves did a lot more champion damage that game. So it just shows how they coordinated this their executions on killing the Kog'Maw very well.
It's also Direwolves had 3 really beefy tanks.
Yeah,
and
a lot more damage to be done.
You know, AV should just be way out damaging them, but they didn't way out damage them. It was pretty close.
It was.
So all of that damage is front loaded onto the Kog'Maw and the Jace, and then they chip down the tanks when they're pretty much irrelevant.
As we close out this segment before we go into Game 2, I do want to spend a bit of time talking about Shern and Sybil because, I mean, some of that CS differential midway through the game looked very brutal. But I know backstage you were saying, look, it looks worse than it is. And it is bad, but it looks worse than it is.
Yeah, so he was taking the Raptors and Krogs repeatedly, and obviously those give the most CS numbers, so it looks really bad when you see it on screen, but Sybil was only a level down.
I think he went 2 levels down at one point.
2 levels down at one point, but it wasn't as bad as you would think.
Yeah.
And also, Sybil, I'd like to mention, itemized very well. He builds straight health, which is what you traditionally do on Sejuani, but it also is very good into Kog'Maw, because Kog'Maw has so much mixed damage that resistances don't really help you there.
Yeah, and I will say, he did a lot of just good work stemming the bleeding. He was down, I think, 80 CS very, very early, before 15 minutes, almost Flame Horizon. I was pulling for the Flame Horizon because I thought it'd be awesome, and I also thought it'd help my prediction come true. But Sybil did work with the minimal amount of CS he was able to get, and it was able to transition from a heavy farming game to an objective-based game where they started taking dragons and towers and taking the focus away from sort of laning and letting Shern bullying him around. So it was pretty good by Avant and Sybil to get him out of that situation.
The other thing we spoke about before we went into this game wasn't just Sybil playing against his old team, but also Triple, the mid laner for AV Gaming, and how he's kind of been a staple of the scene. And how do you think he played today? I mean, he's obviously had a pretty good game, or is it that Fantix kind of underperformed?
Okay, so I don't want Fantix on Galio. I don't. Fantix is too talented of a mid laner to be a neutralizer. He put him back on Victor, put him back on Vlad. That's how they'll pick up the two wins they need.
But I feel like Galio mid's like a cool thing to do right now.
Galio is definitely broken at the moment, but I don't want Fantix. And talking about Triple, I don't think Triple wasn't flashing on the Kog'Maw. He never actually damaged the Kog'Maw. He damaged the front line.
Zoned a lot of people with his package.
I wanted to see him.
I did not mean.
I know. I just wanted him to like flash in and kill this Kog'Maw, just get a lucky crit and one-shot him, but he never did it. So,
but did he need to? That's the question.
No, he didn't need to. They just won the game. But all I'm saying is like,
I didn't mean it.
That's what I wanted to see. If you look at every team fight, every replay, like you just see him hitting like these 3 fat tanks who don't take any damage.
Yeah.
And he had flash up every fight, just flash auto the Kog'Maw. Maybe you get a lucky crit and splat.
That's the strategy. Just hope for the best.
So what happens now then? Do Direwolves try this Kog'Maw comp again? Do you think, or do they split?
No way.
No way. Please no.
Sharps probably realized like, well, we don't know how well this did in scrims.
Yeah.
They know that they're a better team than AV. They're probably going to go back to what they're used to. Give Chippies three lanes, 3 winning lanes, win the game in 20 minutes, just traditional Direwolf style.
As much as I do think the Direwolves are better, I don't think they'll even win in 20 minutes with the form that AV was showing there.
Not necessarily 20 minutes.
Doesn't matter if they get 3. Yeah, they will, in my opinion, win, especially if they get 3 winning lanes. Generally, pretty damn easy to win from there. But I think you're right. Go back to the winning lanes. Go back to the tried and true style of just letting your players showcase their skill instead of hoping that they come together as a 5-man unit when it seems like they're not too good at it.
But I want to emphasize that I do want to like give a shout out to Sharp for them attempting this composition, something new that they're not really
new.
Yeah, like I really think that this loss shouldn't be taken too hard.
All right, well, there we have it. AV taking that first game 1-0 over Direwolves, but do not go anywhere because after these halves, we'll be back with game number 2.
Double knockout coming out from Destiny. Zaya gets 3-man room, make it 4 as Corky dive bombs into the fight. AV want to try and take this one down. King's going to fall. That's the hyper carry, dead for the Direwolves. AV want to turn this around. 2 kills for Triple. He'll finally get taken down, but suddenly it's a big, massive, scrappy brawl. Fantix and Surefire, the only 2 members of the Wolfpack alive. Fantix will eventually fall. Glenn comes back, and AV pick up a team fight. And Leaky, again, with a 4-man room. Series into the back lines. King is going to go down. Double kill picked up by their their top laner. Triple is trying to keep this fight alive for AV. There's nothing Surefire can do. He's an extra 4, and it's going to be an ace picked up by AV against the Baron buff that Direwolves have. And Galio jumping on top of him as well. He's still alive. King is trying to kite this one through. Very low on health. Finally going to fall to Jay, but as the damage being done, still the rest of AV's carries are alive. Finally, Kled will fall. Sorry, Sybil will fall. It's a 1-for-2 trade. Galio comes in with a big knockup. King is fighting on the back line. Still very healthy, but finally gets locked out. Will QSS splash, jumps up by the rest of the team. Doesn't even matter. The Cockball is down. I repeat, the Cockball is down. Double kill picked up by them. And now Fantix, last man alive for the Wolfpack. Triple kill for Triple. They're going to work their way towards the Nexus, and AV take game 1 against the Direwolves.